That's right, folks. We've only got 20 days until spring.
Goodbye, boots. Hello, sneakers.
I look the part, and so should you.
Hello, Canada. Welcome to our 2022 Spring Aftercast. I'm your host, Jordyn Read. I'm so excited to be here. Spring has sprung. You're here with us live, and how fitting is it that we have our Spring Aftercast on the first day of meteorological spring. That's right, March 1st. You're joining us live, so make sure you give us some of your questions in the comments below so that we can chat with you. That's what the Aftercast is about. It's with connecting with you guys at home. But of course, I cannot do this all alone. I'm with my lovely friends and meteorologists, Rachel Modestino and Jessie Uppal. They are joining me live in studio to talk all about the spring season ahead. So how are you guys feeling? Did you smell spring in the air this morning?
I didn't smell spring in the air, but I'm very excited to start warming our temperatures.
Yes, absolutely. It doesn't look like spring, at least where I am. In the lower Great Lakes, we've had so much snow so far, and that's definitely something we're going to be talking a lot about.
That's true. And first and foremost, as I mentioned, today is the first day of meteorological spring. But what exactly does that mean, and why do meteorologists recognize a different start date to spring than the rest of us? Jessie, you know a lot about this, being a meteorologist yourself. Explain to us.
It's very interesting, Jordyn, because not a lot of people are aware of the two different seasons that we observe. I want to dive right into this because I actually recorded a piece to explain just that. Take a look. Why are there two starts to spring? And which one is real?
Astronomical spring.
It fully depends on Earth's relationship with the sun.
When the sun's direct rays strike the equator at exactly 90 degrees, it marks spring equinox,
or better known to us as the first day of spring.
Since the Earth's orbit around the sun does not take exactly 365 days, shocker, it actually takes 365 plus 1/4 of a day. Astronomical spring does not always land on the same day every year. Meteorological spring is based off of annual temperature cycles and our calendar year.
It always lands on the very same day every year, which is March 1st.
It includes the months of March, April, and May.
This season is mainly used by us meteorologists. It helps us better understand and collect data when it comes to the weather and climate. All right, there you have it. There's the answer, to be put very simply, Jordyn. If you were wondering what exactly is this segment all about, it's a new segment that we're putting on. It's called #AskAmet. So if you have any weather-related questions, whether it's spring-related or any time of the year, send them in to us on Twitter, maybe Instagram, on Facebook, using that hashtag, and we'll answer them in such a cool and unique, fun way.
That was pretty awesome seeing double, Jessie. One of you is amazing, but having two is just over the top.
Sure it is. Yeah, I mean, so that brings me to my next point. What, out of us three, do you actually observe spring on this day, March 1st, or do you wait and you think about spring later on?
I know
Yeah,
I think about spring later on. I don't know about both of you, but I definitely wait until all of the snow has melted.
I've noticed looking out my window that it's getting a little bit darker, a little bit later. So that's having me super, super excited for what's to come. Speaking of which, as you mentioned, Jessie, a lot of people recognize astronomical spring on a different day than meteorologists. And that's all because of something that we like to call the transition period. So let's get into the spring season. Why is it such a good transition period? Rachel, Modestino, can you explain it for us Canadians?
Of course, we call spring the transitional season because we are moving from those dark winter nights slowly into those warm summer days, but we're not quite there yet. Everything's changing. We're going through that transition, hence the transitional season. As Jessie mentioned, our Earth is tilting towards the sun, so we're increasing our solar angle. That increases our daytime heat, slowly warming up into those summer warmth. But that does come with a cost, which we are going to get into, Jordyn, a little bit later, because we will be seeing some stormy systems and some moisture-laden systems as well throughout the spring.
Absolutely. So now that we're getting the inside scoop on what spring is all about, let's dive a little bit deeper into the topic. Let's talk about what's in store for Canadians. Jessie, can you tell us a little bit about what we can see for spring?
Today, Jordyn, was a special day because we released our official spring forecast across the country. So if you're watching this morning or through the afternoon, our program really dove deep into all of your spring forecast needs. Now we're going to dive deeper for you, and I'm going to start off with temperatures because temperatures are arguably one of the most important aspects of seasonal forecasts for many of us, and they're very relatable. We look forward to these temperatures. Unfortunately, there's a lot of blue that you're seeing across Western Canada. It paints a picture all across British Columbia into portions of Alberta and our far north. So what this means is that throughout the next 3 months, we are going to be tipping below normal, and I'll get to what that actually means in just a moment's time. But you can see near normal temperatures spread across the southern areas of the Rockies, southern Alberta, portions of the southern prairies, and there's a lot of warmth south of the border. So very warm and dry conditions across the south. And I did talk about what's normal and what's not. Now let's put these numbers into perspective because they certainly change from month to month. For instance, across the province of British Columbia, from March, our daytime highs into Vancouver are about 10 degrees. Those easily jump up quite quickly into the 13, 14 degree category and then further into the mid to high teens. And across the prairie provinces, this is an area across the country that we normally see drastic swings in temperatures. And that's exactly what we're expecting this season. It is the season of transition, really. You can see how drastic those normals really start to climb in the next few months. So across the prairies, we are going to be seeing wild swings. That's typical for this season. And across the Great Lakes, we're seeing a lot of warmth, again, south of the border. Near normal across much of southern Ontario, so a highly populated area through the Golden Horseshoe. We're seeing some very pleasant pushes of weather, so expect that. But there is a lot of cold readily available to us, which we might start to tap into at times, especially through this month of March. Our normals are actually quite low, and they won't actually be climbing all that much until at least mid-April. And then we push further eastward. There's a lot of cold air centered across portions of Newfoundland and Labrador. That's going to shoot down at times. And then we take a look at your averages across the board across the eastern half of the country. We're looking at very pleasant conditions as we head into the month of May. Again, that's the end of this season. So that's a look at your temperature forecast, near normal across much of the board. Rachel, Jordyn, that's one aspect of the spring season, the temperatures, which we all want to bank on warmth. But what about precipitation, Rachel? Because we all want to know, is it going to be a wet spring or is it going to be a dry spring?
Is spring going to live up to its rainy expectations? Well, for sections across Canada, it will do so. But first, let's start off in the west. We can anticipate for much of British Columbia onslaughts of moisture, Pacific systems making their way through, above normal precipitation for those in BC. But if you couple that with the below seasonal temperatures that you saw Jessie show, maybe a prolonged ski season in store for folks out in the Rockies and coastal mountains. So good news if you are enjoying those recreational activities. We do paint near normal once again across the prairies. We could see those fluctuations like Jessie mentioned. Those dramatic swings in dryness and wetness do come and go. But it's a different story as we head east. Now I'm going to be painting majority of the population across Ontario, southern Ontario, up the St. Lawrence, and into Atlantic Canada green. That is above normal precipitation. We are expecting quite an active storm track in the east, and that is coming from systems that will be developing stateside, possibly tapping into some Gulf moisture that's readily available. And that could tick up our precipitation across eastern Canada. So it does look like spring will be in full force across the east. But let's dive into what kind of precipitation you're going to be seeing, because although I'm painting you green, we're not always going to be seeing rainfall. In fact, for the beginning half of your spring, we do get some snow, and we could see that continue as those temperatures fluctuate into the cold, slowly warming up. But do expect some snowfall through the month of March and maybe even lingering into April. How much snow do we usually see for the east? Well, for Toronto, it's anywhere from about 20 centimeters, and majority of that is coming in March. And you'll see that trend as I head into Montreal as well. However, a little bit more snowfall to work with for you. 36 is the average, 36 centimeters for March, and then that also spills into April as well for those folks in Montreal. But then that does tick up as you head into Atlantic Canada. More moisture to work with the ocean. And then we could see areas in Charlottetown. You average about 46 centimeters of snowfall in March. So do expect that snow to continue, but beginning to taper off into May. But I do want to dive into some more details, the nitty-gritty stuff with you, Jessie, because over in Western Canada, we do have some highlights that we want to look at in terms of flooding and droughts.
We do, and you raised a really great point there, Rachel, because the cold coincides with the moisture across parts of the West, particularly British Columbia, which is why we're saying it might actually be a very beautiful extension of our ski season. It wasn't too long ago that we saw that atmospheric river bring flooding rains to the south coast of British Columbia, but high elevation snowfall, which is great for all of those mountain resorts as well, the ski resorts. So temperatures, yes, they're on the cool side, but the silver lining here is that there's that extension of the ski season. So if you are more a fan of those winter activities, you certainly want to take advantage of that into possibly even into April. High impact weather, we are dealing with the risk of avalanches. We've seen a taste of that not too long ago with the fluctuation of temperatures. So we'll keep monitoring that for you. And then further west of the further east of the Rockies rather, across the western Alberta portions, we are seeing drastic temperature swings, and that's because we have these downsloping events. We have wild swings in temperatures thanks to Chinooks and other localized impacts there. So that's something we'll take into consideration. Turbulent temperatures, it might be great and beautiful for one day, but you might be shot with an Arctic air blast. Now, Rachel, you have more insights onto what we could expect for the east and some minor details what we have to keep a lookout on for. And one thing I will raise is that we've seen a lot of nor'easters and a lot of powerful systems. We've used the term weather bomb a lot this season, throughout the winter season. And that's because of that clash, right? The warm Gulf waters across the Atlantic as well, colliding with the cold Arctic air. So there's a lot to consider even into the months of March and April, because we're still dealing with that wild contrast.
Exactly, and that wild contrast you speak about really intensifies as we head into spring, as we get a little bit more daylight to work with. That changes our temperatures, and our systems like to ride those boundaries where we have that extreme warm and extreme cold right in between. And that's that active boundary we're talking about over the east. So when we dig into highlights of Ontario It will be the same, similar for Quebec as well, but we do want to mention our temperatures near normal, but like Jessie mentioned, we can see those surges of cold air that is readily available just being in the Great White North. So do expect, even though we do have sections that could be into some warmer air, those fluctuations will begin to happen as we head through the spring. But because of that, that's setting up that active storm track that we're talking about. And these systems that we're keeping a close watch on are coming from the state side. So what that means is they can tap into a little bit more Gulf moisture and tick up our precipitation quite a bit, quite quickly, in fact. It's a very similar story across Quebec as well. You can tie a nice bow into both regions, Ontario and Quebec, dealing with these surges of moisture, dramatic temperature swings, and spring living up to its name across those two provinces. A slight difference, though, as you head out into eastern Canada. Now, as Jessie mentioned, we did see that cold air lobe over Labrador, and that may provide some pushes late in our spring for some cold weather and possibly high impact weather. You can see here moisture laden systems contribute to a flood risk as well. It has been downright snowy and rainy across Atlantic Canada. We've seen above average precipitation for your winter, and then we're going to be adding on another above average precipitation season. So flood risks are definitely going to be impactful across the Maritimes and into Atlantic Canada. So we'll be on the lookout for that, and maybe possibly some winter high impact weather later in the season.
Awesome.
Did you get all that?
Thank you both so much. Yeah, that was a lot. I kind of want to give you guys a break, maybe have some, coffee before we dive into the next one, but I have to give the people what they want because they're lovely and they keep sending in their questions for us. So thank you for that. I hope, Jessie, you can maybe answer this next one. This is actually from Rachel McConnell. She lives in Calgary. She said, I've already seen trees and plants budding in Calgary. Are these in trouble if we get more cold weather anytime soon? Jessie, what do you think?
That's a great question, and it kind of goes hand in hand with what we're talking about, the turbulent temperatures, right? Calgary in particular, across southern Alberta, we've seen beautiful stretches of temperatures into the mid-teens lately. I know weekend after weekend, all we've been talking about is how gorgeous it's going to be with lots of sunshine if you are, in fact, across southern Alberta. Across the north, not so much, because that cold air continues to be the clash. So I'm not surprised that we're already starting to see some sprouts and some budding there. I definitely would protect any plants if you are the one to garden or have those plants in your backyard. Make sure you protect whatever you have, because the shots of colder air are certainly possible.
Awesome, and I have one last one for you, Rachel, as well. This has to do with our next segment. So Jessie from Jetty says, will there be no more daylight saving time, or will we have to change our clocks again? Have we gotten rid of it here in Ontario, or not so much?
Well, there was something going around that we might get out of this old habit of ours of changing our clocks around. But I can say for this season, spring 2022, you are going to have to change your clocks forward. And we're going to get into that, like you said, Jordyn, in our next segment.
Absolutely. Let's talk about daylight saving time. Whenever spring is around the corner, this means that daylight saving time is as well. Now, some provinces like Saskatchewan don't practice the concept, but for those provinces that do, let's give them some tips on how to get a great night's sleep.
We are springing forward, and that means you will lose an hour of sleep this weekend. But on the positive side, spring and summer are coming, the days are getting longer, but that doesn't mean you should adjust your bedtime. Sleep is essential, and here's why. It improves your memory. If you're trying to learn a new skill, your sleep is important, as this is a time your brain strengthens the skills you learned while awake. A proper night's sleep, around 7 hours, can curb inflammation, which is linked to heart disease, stroke, diabetes, arthritis, and premature aging. Sleep can help you become a better athlete as blood rushes to repair muscles and tissue. A Stanford study proved that athletes improve their sprint time while getting 10 hours of sleep per night. And lastly, sleep helps you keep a healthy weight, as sleep and metabolism are controlled by the same sectors of the brain. So enjoy that extended daylight in the evening, but still commit to a healthy bedtime. Aim for 7 to 8 hours a night.
I have to say, whenever daylight saving time is around the corner, I get confused myself. I don't know if I gain an hour or lose an hour, and then I'm frantically looking at my alarm clock, making sure that the time is just right. I don't know about you two. Rachel, do you have any kind of apprehensions when it comes to daylight saving time, or do you love it?
I mean, it does have a give and take. We are getting an extra hour of sunlight, but we are losing an hour of sleep. So for me, I do like to have that extra daylight. I will suffer the consequences for that short hour and that short time frame. But I do get confused just as you. So hopefully we can dive into it and clear up some of that confusion for the viewers.
I can't wait until Ontario gets rid of it.
That's true. I'm with you, Jessie. I kind of want to be done with it, like Saskatchewan. I don't want to deal with worrying about it.
Yeah, I know it affects a lot of people. I mean, it feels like, for some at least, that you're jet lagged. If you're not used to adjusting your sleep schedule so much, it could definitely take a toll. So, not a fan.
And I know we were kind of discussing this, but we gain an hour of daylight this time around, right?
We gain an hour of daylight, yes, but because we jump our clocks forward, we are losing an hour of sleep, perhaps.
Awesome, awesome. So it sounds like we all kind of want to get rid of it.
That's a general consensus, yes.
General consensus? Okay, well, why don't I bring in some more questions from you viewers at home. I know we were talking about flooding. That seems to be a huge topic around spring, of course. Roy Atkins has a question for you, Rachel. He said, should I be concerned about flooding on the prairies this year?
Well, that's a good question. Because we saw so much snowfall in areas in southern Manitoba specifically, if you find yourself in Winnipeg or any regions around the Red River, we are flagging potential flood risks heading into spring. All of that snowpack that's still stuck around because it has been quite cold in Manitoba this winter, if it does melt, that could really stress our waterways, especially around the Red River. We do have an article up at theweathernetwork.com for more of this that we just published today. So if you're looking for more information, you can head there.
Okay, thank you so much, Rachel. And Jessie, this is from Mary Thompson. She says, do April showers really bring May flowers?
That's a good one. That kind of goes hand in hand with what we're going to talk about a little bit later. It's called weather lore, these neat little poems that people recite, and they relate to actual weather. So we're going to talk about that a little bit later throughout this Aftercast. But you know what? I'd certainly hope so. But it doesn't always apply. If you are more of an indoor house plant keeper like me in a condo, I have so many houseplants, obsessed with gardening, but I don't have a garden, unfortunately.
Nice.
Some plants don't actually want more water. They like drier conditions, so it really depends on what you're talking about.
Wow, okay, well, we'll get into that a little bit later. We've talked about our feelings in regards to daylight saving time, but why don't we kind of explain the science? Rachel, can you let the viewers know exactly what daylight saving time is?
Yes, we can. So like we were mentioning, daylight savings time this season in the spring, we spring forward an hour. So do check your clocks. Sunday, March 13th at 2 a.m. local. That's when those clocks will change. That is coming up really quite quickly. But a lot of you are probably wondering, like Jessie, why am I losing an hour of sleep? Is it really even worth it? Well, it does come all down to the Earth's axis. When we're in the winter, we are actually tilted away from the sunlight. So we have a little bit of a shadowing effect going on in the northern hemisphere, and that contributes to our shorter daylight hours in that season. However, as we get into spring, we're watching our Earth's axis tilt up. So our hours of sunlight are increasing, our sun angle is increasing, and that goes a long way, especially for us farther from the equator. It makes those seasons assert themselves even more. We get colder, darker winters, and those in Nunavut, Iqaluit can speak to that. We're seeing a sun angle of 3 degrees in wintertime, and through the spring, it'll increase anywhere from 30 to 40 degrees. So that just makes those summer hours, those spring daylight hours, a lot more meaningful to the locals. Not just in Iqaluit, though, we're also seeing this trend farther south in Victoria. Through the spring months, we increase our solar angle 30 degrees. So that is going to cause for that feeling of the sun on your skin and attribute to 1 extra hour of daylight. So we do lose an hour of sleep, but that does have a good consequence. We do get an extra hour of sunlight. So that's up to you, which way you want to tilt on that scale.
Yes, it really is up to us. And when I think about summer or spring, I think about going outside, maybe even going outdoors. But of course, with spring, there is the chance of having some more bugs in the air. We actually have a question from Jordyn Read. She's wondering, does cooler temperatures mean less bugs? Jessie, do you have any thoughts on this? Have you tried it out for yourself?
I mean, I notice a lot less bugs, a lot less insects through the colder months, but again, they start to hibernate a bit too. So, I mean, there's a season, especially there's a mosquito season, there's a season dedicated to each insect where they start to breed and they become more of a nuisance. So that it's always better to be prepared. That's what I say. If you have the bug spray, if you have the repellent, definitely keep it handy because no one wants to be like scratching at those bug bites.
Now, is anyone actually afraid of bugs, or are you guys okay with them? Living in Canada, you kind of have to be confident when it comes to insects.
Yeah, I'll tolerate them. I will tolerate them when I see centipedes, and I just keep thinking, they're taking care of the spiders. There's always a give and take, but I do find when the ant season comes around, that is when it's just hard to look at your floor. That's creepy crawling.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Especially when you're heading outdoors and you're having those picnics or those park meetups, during the world of the pandemic. We've been doing a lot of outdoor activities. I don't know about you guys, but like throughout last summer, I was always at a park, lay down a blanket, ants everywhere. I don't know if there's a proper solution to that.
I don't know, for me it was ladybugs. I saw ladybugs everywhere, and I'm actually not a huge fan of ladybugs. I think I would take ants over ladybugs.
That's fair.
Interesting.
I know, it's a weird one. But I also have something super cool to show you all, and it actually involves this beautiful carton of eggs. Let me see, can you see that all in front of me? So this has to do with this fantastic weather lore. This is a rumor that's been going on for decades, and it surrounds this little egg. Now, the rumor is that on the spring equinox, this egg, you can actually balance straight up, and spring equinox falls on March 20th of this year. So, what do you guys think at home? Do you think I can stand it up or not?
No.
Not so much.
Give it 19 days,
What if
Jordyn.
I do 2? It's in 19 days, of course.
Be careful
Maybe
you don't
I'll
crack
try
that on the
2.
table.
I already did, guys. Live TV, I already cracked it. If anyone's hungry in the control room, I can make some eggs for you. But have you two fallen for this myth? Apparently, this is a myth that's been going on for decades, and it also involves a broom, as I can see, Jessie, you're holding.
It
Show
does
us a little
apparently.
bit about the broom.
Okay, so before this segment, I never heard about the broom balancing act and this myth, but apparently you're able to balance a broom straight on its, I guess, the bottom, the base of it, only during equinox. And of course, I find this just bizarre, and this is totally a myth. It's not true. I've never heard of any of these other myths. Have you, Rachel?
this is the first time I'm hearing about the egg and the broom. The only really myth, I guess, that I've heard about spring is the spring cleaning trend, but maybe it's more of a trend, not a myth.
That's true. That's true. You know, someone who can actually explain what is behind the history of the rumor of the egg is Leanne McLean. She's going to give us the excellent explanation about the common misconception.
You may or may not have heard of this one before, but according to the weather lore, during the spring and autumn equinoxes, it's the ideal time to try and balance an egg. An equinox happens when the sun passes directly over the Earth's equator. It results in a day and night that are exactly the same length, and it happens.
Or your dresses, perhaps, and your shoes as well. So I see the appeal of the spring cleaning because you really have to change a lot as we head into warmer seasons. Living in Canada, dealing with all the fluctuations, but can't say that I follow that trend.
That's fair. I don't think I clean very often in the springtime either. I'm kind of just waiting for the next season and then waiting for the next season until, you know, it never really happens.
I feel like
Jessie,
I'm constantly
are you one
cleaning
for spring cleaning?
I feel like I'm going to be more of a spring cleaner this time around, especially with the state of my coat closet, because it's just parka after winter jacket, and I just want to clear it all out and forget about it and make it a distant memory. And I find the most joy coming from throwing those boots and the snowshoes away, hide them away, and bring out the sneaker and the open toe sandals. I just cannot wait for that.
That's true. You know what? I do have a lot of boxes to get rid of, especially during the pandemic. I was ordering a lot from local shops. They were delivering it to my house, but the packages kind of piled up. So I guess spring is probably a good time to maybe clear some of that closet space, as you mentioned, Rachel.
Yeah, and it's also something I was talking about with our fellow meteorologist, Kelly, earlier. I think it was yesterday. She said we get more sunlight in the spring, so maybe people do spring cleaning because we can see the dust more. Maybe that is that a fact or fiction? I'm not sure.
That is definitely one. Yeah. When the sun comes in, at least for me, you see everything on the floor. So it just immediately makes you think, I gotta grab the Swiffer or the vacuum now.
Or the broom that's standing perfectly upright because it's the spring equinox.
Oh no.
It's a little frightening to know that I can see all the dirt in my living room, to be honest, so I might clean with my windows closed. But spring cleaning is a really great one. One that I always hear is like smell the flowers more often and even hear the birds chirping. Do you guys have birds around where you live?
I don't know about you, Jessie, but I sure do. We have a bunch of robins and even crows, honestly. I can pick them out, but it is a refreshing noise for me. I'm not a big winter lover. I don't love the cold. I tend to hibernate inside. So hearing that and all of the little birdies chirping, although it may be a nuisance, especially in the early mornings, it is refreshing, at least in the beginning. Maybe then it gets old later in the spring.
I love hearing them early in the morning. I'm such a morning person, so I just find it invigorating. I really do.
It's like your natural alarm clock.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've heard crows as being like a nice sound in the morning.
I take that back. I take that back. I just noticed we had a lot of crows recently. I don't know why. Maybe things were just, everybody, all the animals, I think, were just stirring about this winter and fall too. So yeah, I had some crow beef in my backyard.
Well, we actually asked you viewers at home. We sent a Twitter panel asking viewers, you know, what reminds you of spring? Because of course, there's only a few more days of winter. So what are the seasons that you sing? Number 2, melting snow, lake, and ice. That's a great one because you can kind of see everything you've lost and fallen beneath the snow. It all resurfaces. Number 3, return of the butterflies. That's one I've never heard of before, but it totally makes sense. Butterflies are beautiful to see out. And of course, lastly was other. You still have to tweet us because I don't think the poll's totally over yet, so you still have a chance to get your responses in. What do you guys think about the responses? Did anything, surprise you at all?
Oh,
I
think Twitter hit them nail right on the head.
Yeah, I think so. The butterflies kind of shocking. I would probably think that ladybugs, the return of the ladybugs, would be number one.
I'm surprised not to see like when the tulips or flowers start to bloom. Maybe that was in the other.
Yeah, for sure. A huge sign in Vancouver across our west coast, the Tulip Festival.
Absolutely. The ladybug sounds like a nightmare to me, but I will take the butterflies any day of the week. Speaking about spring, what do you lovely ladies have planned? Is there anything that you're just so excited to do?
Well, I can start. There's lots going on for spring that I'm excited about. I'm a big sports lover, so a lot of sports are coming back. The Blue Jays are doing their spring training coming up. Toronto FC are having their home opener this March. So lots of exciting, new, more fun sports that are starting back up throughout spring. And also lots to be excited about March break for those folks that are in schools, maybe needing a little bit of a break from the winter. That is also coming up. Easter's a great time. I celebrate Easter with my family, so I'm looking forward to that Easter meal. And finally, St. Patrick's Day, being Irish, and hopefully being able to celebrate this year. That is something I'm looking forward to celebrating.
Oh yeah, that'd be huge this year. What an improvement. I'd say for me, not so much of an avid sports watcher, but love to get outdoors for that. And also my dog. He's still very small. He's still a puppy, and he has not enjoyed this winter. He certainly did not enjoy the frigid conditions we saw across Ontario this year, and a lot of the ice, a lot of the snow, just really sensitive little pup. So I'm again looking forward to taking him out on some longer walks, because it's really been short walks, and then he starts walking on 3 legs because he just can't stand the cold.
Yeah, I think bottom line is we're all looking forward to warmer weather. Let's just say that.
Yes.
100%. 100%. I remember, Jessie, we were talking about our dogs during the winter aftercast. They hated going out for walks. They were walking in with 3 little feet. And they'd always turn around, and I'd want to keep walking, but they didn't. So spring is going to be super fun. I loved, Rachel, what you said about St. Patrick's Day. I cannot remember the last time I actually celebrated St. Patrick's Day. So maybe we should all go out together, maybe wear some green and have some fun. What do you guys think?
Yes, I'm for it. I'm for it. I'm excited.
That's awesome. I'm also really looking forward to painting. I don't know if you guys paint, but I love to paint any sort of scenic views, so any sort of maybe flowers I see in spring. Is there any activities that you guys do? Rachel, what about you?
Not so much painting. I do some outdoor rock climbing. So I really have to take advantage of those warmer, dry days. They may be few and far between in the early months of spring, but as we head closer into summer, I will definitely take advantage and get out around Rattlesnake and through the Niagara Escarpment, get some outdoor climbing. It'll be refreshing to get out of the rock climbing indoor gym, as much as I love it and have loved getting out somewhere this winter, but outdoor rock climbing, that I'll have to keep a lookout in the forecast for those days.
That sounds so much fun. So adventurous, not like me. You wouldn't find me rock climbing at all, not one bit. Jordyn, I love the painting idea, because we used to always do this thing called paint night, where you go to restaurants and they give you a painting and you got an instructor, and then you all paint the same picture, and everyone's comes out so differently, but everyone's so beautiful. I definitely want to partake in some more outdoor paintings. I think that's a beautiful idea. And honestly, I cannot wait to just crack open the windows and keep them open. So turn off the central heating and the AC and just have the fresh air come right in. That's what I can't wait for.
I love that idea. And you know what's amazing is when you're like on a road trip and you crack open those windows in the spring, you have the fresh air coming in. Is there anywhere, maybe even in Ontario or in Canada, that you two have been itching to visit since winter may be behind us? Rachel, is there anywhere that you want to go?
Well, I'm itching to go back to British Columbia. I have a lot of friends out there that I haven't seen in quite some time. So hopefully seeing you guys this year, if not spring, maybe summer. I went there, I think, a couple years ago. It's lost my mind here, but it was absolutely gorgeous. And I didn't go for as long as I think I need to really take everything in. So maybe making a trip over to BC, taking advantage of that ski season that we were talking about, the hiking season, and just overall the beautiful views. That's definitely on my list to go back and do.
That sounds great. Yeah, British Columbia, just spectacular. Part of the country I definitely want to explore more is our own backyard here in Ontario, across the Golden Horseshoe, and then even just slightly out of there. There's so many hidden gems, so many hiking spots that I want to take advantage of, so that's definitely on my list.
That's awesome. I'm so inspired by you guys and your outdoor activities. The rock climbing one, maybe I'll get into. I'm not 100% sure. But I'd love to visit Muskoka as always. Muskoka is such a fantastic place to go any time of year. See all the trees, but make sure that you pack that bug spray, of course, because you never know if the bugs are around. But again, everyone at home, make sure you share with us all your beautiful pictures heading into spring using hashtag #ShareYourWeather. You can find us on Twitter at The Weather Network. And if you love spring as much as we do, make sure to check the full spring forecast on theweathernetwork.com. Please share with us your photos, your videos heading into spring. We absolutely love to see it. And often we share it right here on the Weather Network. Right, guys?
I use it all the time. I use all of our content, even if you tweet at us or you upload in our gallery. If I am using it for storytelling, we always love that aspect of storytelling. So definitely a big use in my books.
Absolutely, especially because it comes from all parts of the country, right? From the West Coast to the East Coast and then our far north. It's just a great tool that we use to illustrate our forecasting. It's great.
That's awesome. And remember, everyone, use the hashtag #ShareYourWeather, and you could be with us on the Weather Network here. But thank you so much for watching our Spring 2022 Aftercast. We've had a blast. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much.